guys, it is Ty with Ty the Dog Guy on the Daily, and today's topic, I'm going to break a few hearts. And I'm sorry about this, and every time I do it, I feel awful because it's like I'm exploding somebody's belief about their dog. But I think it's important for people to understand, and I think it's crucial for people to understand. So, this little myth that I'm going to be kind of busting today is about your dog protecting you. The reality is your dog will probably not protect you in a real scenario. Now I say this because one thing that I hear a lot is we do a lot of protection training, teaching dogs to be protective on command, to protect the home, to protect the car, to protect from muggings, things like that. And so we do a lot of that kind of training. And one thing I hear quite often is folks will call and they'll say, "Hey, I've got a German Shepherd now. I know that if push comes to shove, he's going to take care of me, but I just want to make sure he's got the training so he does it well." Or the same thing they call with a Rottweiler or Doberman or something like that. And that's the phrase I hear a lot is like, "I know if he had to that he would protect us." So here's the thing. The reality is that the overwhelming majority of German Shepherds, Dobermans, Rottweilers, will not protect. And when I say protect, I mean, like actually protect. Like there's plenty of these dogs that will bark at a window, bark when they're inside of a vehicle when, if someone's trying to get in. And so there's plenty of dogs that'll put on a show. Plenty that won't. But anyways, there's plenty that will, and I'm just using those breeds, but we could be talking about any breed here. But there are very few dogs that will actually engage another human when safety is on the line and when we've got an actual situation that's dangerous. And so like I said, I know that flies in the face of what so many dog owners think about their dogs, because so many dog owners are convinced that, oh no, he'd totally protect me. He would totally protect me in a real situation. So, we do a lot of testing of dogs, and the overwhelming majority, you bring me 100 German Shepherds here in Utah or any state or any country, we go around the world and you find 100 German Shepherds and we start testing them and putting them in more real life scenarios. And if you're lucky, one or two will actually show some degree of protectiveness. And so there's a lot of reasons for this. One is that to actually engage to engage a human being for a dog is a very scary thing. In fact, when you see most dog bites, most dog bites that we deal with, because we deal with a lot of, fixing a lot of aggression and things, most dog bites come from fear. It's a fear-based response. The dog feels fight, flight, or avoidance. And so dogs bite people all the time. But of course, we're not talking about dogs just biting people. We're talking about dogs protecting their owners in a dangerous situation. But like I say, dogs bite people all the time. But the overwhelming majority of when they do that is related to fear. It is a very scary thing to really engage a man or a woman. But let's say a man in this case, because frankly, I think most muggers are men. Sorry, men. Most bad guys in this scenario that we're talking about. And so to really engage a man is terrifying. And so like I say, normally when it happens, the dog is like at the end of his rope, terrified, thinks he has no choice, and he bites the guy, or the woman, or the kid, or whatever. But most bites do not come from confident, protecting, I'm going to take care of this family. Most bites don't come from that. Now, I know that happens. It does, because you'll read in the news, you'll see little news clips here or there about this dog protected its family and protected its home, and check it out. So it does happen, but there's a reason why it's on the news. It doesn't happen very much. Most dogs aren't going to protect when push comes to shove. They're not going to do anything other than run away or sit there and just bark, when somebody breaks into your home or is attacking you or something like that. And so that's just the reality. So like I say, number one, it takes a lot. Number two, the reason why so few dogs will do it is because that's been bred out of most dogs, most breeds, most lines. The ability to take on a human confidently has been bred out. And there's a reason for that. The reality is most dogs that will take on a man aren't dogs that are great for living in the home. They're too intense. They're too powerful. They're going to push their owners around too much unless their owners are very skilled or very seasoned with working dogs. And so the majority of dogs that end up out there in the public are generally dogs that are, not terribly strong by necessity. If they were, they'd be getting shipped off to shelters and things like that. And so those dogs aren't getting bred, and as a result, so much of the protective ability has been bred out of the majority of German Shepherds, Dobermans, Rottweilers, things like that. And so even dogs that stereotypically and historically were good for protection, nowadays typically aren't. If they are, you have to go to very specific bloodlines, very specific types of breeding, and in addition to that, very specific types of training. It's not one of these things, you just can't count on a dog to naturally protect a family. You hope for it if you've never done any training, and if you're in a situation, gosh, you hope for it and you pray and you cross your fingers, but in reality, if you want a dog that's going to protect you legitimately, you've got to be starting with the right puppy or the right adult. It's going to cost a lot of money, and you got to invest a lot of time, money, effort into training. Otherwise, you've just got a dog that's, perhaps a well-bred dog that doesn't know how to protect. It's kind of like, I often compare it to like college or professional level athletics. There's a lot of kids that are fast. There's a lot of kids that jump high. There's a lot of kids that can kind of shoot, or that can shoot a ball into a hoop. But out of the millions of kids that can do that, there's very few that make it into college athletics, and there's very few that make it into pro athletics. And the reason why is it takes something pretty special. And it's the same thing with dogs that are, ostensibly to be protection dogs. It takes something pretty special. It's rare to find that dog, that German Shepherd at the shelter, and have him turn into a stellar protection dog. It's rare. It almost never happens. So like I say, I know I'm being a downer today. Sorry for my downer message, but it's like I say, it's important to know. I don't like necessarily when folks, are banking on their dog protecting them, only to find out that when somebody breaks in, the dog is more likely to show them where the jewelry is than to take a bite out of it.